What's going on, everybody? This is a segment from the Nerdgasm Talk podcast. If you like podcasts, well, why don't you come join us as the crew gets silly and Philly while we sit to talk about the latest in comics, games, movies, and all things pop culture. You guys can listen to our whole show on all the podcasts apps. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys get your podcasts from. And make sure you guys also support the channel by subscribing to the Nerd Coalition Studios. And for the gaming needs, make sure you subscribe to Nerd Coalition Level Up. This is the Nerd Coalition. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And now, feel the Nerdgasm. Let's go on to something else that happened. So, Netflix loves giving, our comedians, some platforms here. So, the latest Netflix special they had was Chris Rock's Selective Outrage, which came out. Netflix special. Now, usually when a comedian gets a new Netflix special, I check him out. Mm-hmm. I did. First of all, I'll put it this: I'm not the biggest Chris Rock fan. It ain't because of the slap. I just was never a big Chris Rock guy. Like I told you, my favorite comedians. My top three is Steve Harvey, Robert Harris, Flip Wilson. Those are old school guys. Right. And then of course, I love Bernie Mac, but like I said, I'm not a big fan of Cat Williams. I'm not a big thing of I'm a huge fan of Dave Chappelle. So different comics for different tastes. When it came to the whole thing with the slap with Will Smith and Chris Rock and stuff like that, I felt as though there was blame on both sides, to be honest with you. But it really never should have happened how it did.
I agree. It shouldn't have happened.
It never should have happened. Like I said, even if just like I said, I can find it's easy to find blame on both sides of the coin, but it really never should have happened. But so Will Smith has since apologized a couple ways and all that stuff like that, but Chris Rock has not responded until this Netflix special. And
let's say that. Is there a right apology for that? Yes, we done concluded it shouldn't happen, but it did. Let's just say that it did. What is the proper apology for that?
To be honest with you, there really isn't a proper apology, but I think what some people may think of and Chris Rock think of is that maybe Chris Rock should have had his chance to flame Will Smith out first before Will Smith did his apology and go on about his career. And I think some people may look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Because Chris Rock didn't say anything for a whole year. And Will Smith since apologized. His emancipation came out. Will Smith announced Bad Boys for Martin Lawrence. So it's like Will Smith's expected being Will Smith. And we got the team Will Smith, the team Chris Rock thing. But Chris Rock, I was like, if he wants his platform to say how he feels and he ain't say nothing, he has any right to do that. So that's what the platform was. And to be honest with you, I watched it. And first of all, I am not in the business of cancel culture. That's just not me. Because it's hard for me to judge somebody on their worst day. Because everybody has a worst day. A
conversation about cancel culture could go on forever, my man.
Oh, it can. But however, I am in the camp of accountability. If you do some dumb shit, you got to answer for that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, if things go wrong for you when your track record doesn't show that, you can't judge somebody on their worst day one time. That's the way I look at it. But saying all that, saying stuff like that, I was just like, comedians over time are telling jokes, and there's always an ounce of truth in the jokes. But there's no matter what you do, there's always somebody's going to be offended by the joke. Mm-hmm. Always. But it's also understand to be able to take a joke, because look, we have come from an era of Def Comedy Jam, Comic View, where if we go back and look at some of the more episodes, there's some shit that's just like they ain't gonna ride today, to be honest with you. But it was funny.
Well, I've said this, and I remember I had a conversation with Swag about this before. I said comedy is nothing than disrespect and jest. I am doing nothing more than making light of a situation that is not intended to make light of. That is the current state of comedy. That's what people laugh at. That's why you have videos of people failing that can have millions of views. Not because they're okay, because it was funny.
Yes, there's some things. So I was saying to say this like this. I'm not the biggest Chris Rock fan. As I'm just not Chris Rock. I just like he just be like loud like Chris Tucker sometimes. But he says some funny things. He says some things about Meghan Markle, which I know some people from Meghan Markle will be upset. But I was sitting there watching it, and I was sitting there like, that's true though. And it's funny because he was just like, Meghan Markle. He said, "Did you just hit the light skin lottery?" And you were surprised that when you was crying on Oprah talking about they're so racist or they're something like that. He said it's the royal family. He said they are the biggest race. They the Sugar Hill Gang of racism.
And you know what? So with your comments, and talking about Chris Rock, my coworker, and I talked to her a lot about this. I told her I was going to quote her. She said that this is her biggest problem with Chris Rock. She feels like Chris Rock, even though he is making light of the culture, his culture, she feels like his only comedy is that.
To be fair,
that's a problem. Go ahead.
Okay, no. To be fair, because he did come at white folks yesterday too, but hard. But to be fair, I can on certain things see your point because it is fun to laugh. It is fun to make fun of yourself, but sometimes black folks can be a punching bag, and I can understand that. And I can understand that. Now, to me personally, I thought the Meghan Markle stuff was kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? Because he was just like, it's kind of like going into the Budweiser family. You talk about some they drink a lot. Yeah, just say that's what it is. But I also think that along with telling the joke, because there were some jokes that he was telling yesterday that was like people clap politely, but they really wasn't feeling it. Okay, that happened a lot on that Netflix special. I'm just saying.
Okay.
They happen a lot with people like it. That's okay because everybody's not going to take lightly to the joke type thing. But I can understand where your coworker is coming from. I'm not blind to that or going to sit there and make an argument about that. I can understand that. And sometimes to certain people that they don't like to be the punching bag for this, and I get it because sometimes it's already hard enough waking up black. Okay, so that's just life.
You wake up, I'm still dark. Damn
exactly. And the only reason why it's so hard is because of what the world and society has made it hard for us. And I get it. So when you see people that share your skin color or even share your culture and they constantly make fun of you, and it's just kind of like, bruh, come on now. It's like, so okay, it's
gotta
cool.
have another topic. I do understand that, yes.
Yeah, I do get that. But to be fair, like for his special yesterday, he was coming at us and them and a lot of other things. But neither here nor there, because I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you. Because I know you and your wife want to go see it. The biggest thing was the Will Smith thing.
Yep.
Yeah, which was the headline, was the biggest talk about the whole, like him addressing the whole Will Smith thing. And to be honest with you, he got them out of there. And to be honest with you, like I was talking to my wife earlier about it, and usually I don't like talking things about women when I don't have a woman present, especially on the show. But the stuff that he was talking about, I was like, I get why you upset. I get it. And to be honest with you, because I said this last time that you wasn't on the podcast last year when this whole thing called, but it was me, Swag, and Lady Sketch that was talking about this, and you guys can listen to that old episode where I was talking about it. I said Will Smith snapped at the wrong time because Jada, saying castrated that man on live television when it came to that red table talk.
Yo,
she castrated him.
100% truth here. Everything I do with my wife, everything that happens in your household should not be public knowledge.
It should not be. And first of all, to be fair, I've been trying to be a better person going with both sides here. To be fair, homeboy that's Jaden's friend,
Mm-hmm.
He came out and leaked about him sleeping with Jada. He wrong for that.
We both from urban society, so I don't know if you was raised this way. I was raised snitching was wrong.
Exactly. And first of all, you don't air my dirty laundry or my business out there. And on top of that, because then when he did that, he put her in an impossible situation, such as because my wife brought up a good point that now she has to protect her narrative because you don't want nobody explaining your narrative for you.
Yep.
And because if she didn't say anything, people will come up with their own clues about anything. But then if she does say something about it, say she's addressing the issue. So he put her in a no-win situation, and he's wrong for that. Where I say Jada is wrong for is you don't bring your husband. Like, if it's already out, we can talk about this privately. But if I were to go out there and admit that I slept with this man, it's like, okay, I went out there, we're gonna deal with that. Me, you can talk about this privately, but don't bring this man on your show to basically say about you. The man over there trying to hold back tears, and it's basically just saying like what the Joe Chris Rock said was, hey, I sucked your son's best friend's dick. How you feel about that? And like, what is he supposed to say? So then, when everybody from the Breakfast Club, or when everybody from every radio station or any celebrity or any rapper saw that, they called Will Smith a bitch.
And there's a lot of layers to this. Yeah. William, why did you agree to this?
Yeah,
I want to understand.
Why would you do that?
I want to understand why you thought that was the best ideal as well, because I see why people don't. I need to know why you do.
Mm-hmm.
B, you have come out. We had known beforehand that you guys had an open situation going on. I think people understand what an open situation is, but when it's thrown in your face, it's different.
Yeah.
Once again, their business. This should have been taken up with my man August. We need to talk.
Exactly. We got square back to that because that ain't just stuff to reveal. So yeah, he the one causing all this crap. So then when that happens and you got everybody talk about your manhood, now when he makes a joke about your wife's head, which whether you want to believe that he didn't know or not, to go up there and it just snapped like you gonna be the last motherfucker to talk about me.
Mm-hmm.
And then all that stuff happened. And it's like, and then you embarrass this man. You ain't embarrassed this man at the BET Awards. You ain't embarrassed this man at the Source Award. You embarrassed this man at the Oscars. There, everybody's watching. Okay, no disrespect to us, but anybody watching the BET Awards like that.
Also, to be over 100, what Chris said was probably something he didn't say before. What he said is a joke that would have probably he made in common public among him and his people, which is how Chris presented that joke. Oh, I'm with our people. I'm going to make this joke among us. But yes, you're true to your point. He made a joke when Will was on his last leg.
Yeah, and then it made it worse it made it worse also that Will laughed.
As you know, me and your wife has cracked jokes on each other a lot.
Yeah.
It's something we do between one another. Who's to say that one day a joke might not be cracked after y'all have gone through something of which I don't know about that hits a different chord with you because of what went on? We don't know.
Yeah. And like I said, and then he came there and then he laid him out on that one. It's just like that's not gonna sit well. So everything that he said when it came out to the comedy special is of how he felt. He had a right to say that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a right, and you know what? And it was funny. I'll give him credit for this too, because for the stuff that he came out and said to them, talking about because he brought up about how he felt as though Jada was out of line when she was telling him to quit hosting the Oscars when Will Smith didn't win or get nominated for Concussion, which wasn't the greatest of movies neither. And once again, there's layers to that because trust me, all we want to see is black representation. Period. So to see us win an Oscar, it's just like, come on now. But, huh?
No, I'm saying I agree. I said,
Yeah, but also it's just that he was just like, yo, you trying to mess up my money, and now you go out there and you put your business out there about the entanglement, and then I tried to call Will, but he didn't want to offer my condolences, but he didn't want to hear from me. And then all this stuff he said, and everybody talk shit about him and call him a bitch, and the one he decides to hit is me, the nigga he know he can beat up. This is what he said at the special. And I was just like,
Yeah.
And then
you're right. That's a yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's just like, yeah, he said, because I ain't got no entanglements. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing was put out of line. First of all, never mind, I didn't even get into that. But I was just I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just and then he ended the special by saying, he says, everybody wanna ask me how come I didn't fight Wilson back. And he said, because I had parents. And my parents always taught me, you don't fight in front of white people, and drop the mic.
That said a lot.
And then dropped the mic, and that's how the special ended. I was just like, ooh.
Fade the black.
Yeah, and it's just like,
So what's next? People gonna be like, so what you got to say, William?
Yeah, and I'm just, like, he said, I got parents who raised me right, and they always told me, you never fight. He said, don't fight in front of no white people. And we just had this talk about, like, hey,
just did.
Yeah, just talk about, hey, like, yo, you don't fight in front of white people, bro. Like, you don't do that. And I was just like, yeah, that's yeah. See what I'm saying? That's shitty right there. And it's just like, he kind of like castrated him again. And honestly, Will brought the show on himself, though. And I'm not sitting there saying, I love Will Smith. I'm not a big fan of Chris Rock, but that got nothing to do with the slap. But I'm not sitting here going to pick sides here. But Chris Rock had every reason to go out there and come at him. Because, first of all, Chris Rock, this whole comedy special was like, I'm just going to just talk about shit that's pissing me off, right? Yeah. Where Dave Chappelle's shows is like more of a controlled thing, where it's like, I'm going to talk about this stuff that's a problem, but I'm going to educate you on why this is a problem. That's how he does his comedy or his Netflix specials. Chris Rock was just coming out there and just saying shit. Mm-hmm. And that's why there was some reaction from the audience and some reaction not from the audience. Mm-hmm. And also the way he worded things, with talk about Meghan Markle, he brought up he brought up abortion, he brought up Republicans, he brought up some Democrats, he just brought up a lot of different things where some people laughed at. He brought up his thing about his daughter being rich and but how he got her kicked out of school to teach her a lesson, and that she wouldn't know about it until she saw this Netflix special. Like, this is all the stuff that he just came out and started talking, which was building up to the main event of the Will Smith and Jada thing.
Because you got to save for last. Because let's be honest. Yo, Chris Rock is doing a special. Y'all weren't even going to say something about Will. That was immediately what was said.
That's what my wife said. That's what my wife said too. She said that's the only thing that sold that comedy special.
Right. That's going to get all the views in the world for that reason. And then once you, like you just said, with that closeout, it's like, Mm-hmm. Well, who got the last laugh? Obviously, it's the comedian.
Yeah, exactly. Now, after because now it's high again. It was high, then it came low. Will apologize, did all that stuff. Then now it's high again. All I'm saying is, now if they want to sit there and have like a man-to-man conversation and talk it out and be like, and then now like Will, like, I want to go talk to Chris Rock and reach out, and Chris Rock actually wants to pick up, and he's like, yo, I want to apologize for what happened, what I said, and things like that, and I deserved everything that came at me. And honestly, just talk to me like a man, like, no, bro, Will, like, even without this, get your shit together. All your stuff with you and Jada, get that shit together. Really.
If there's a lesson truly to be learned, what happens in the privacy of your home
should be the privacy of your home.
Especially if it's not hurting anyone. But I just want to say that if it's not hurting anyone, if it's not bad for anyone if it's a safe situation that happens in your home that y'all have agreed on. That stay in your house.
Amen to that.